Hi, my name is Dawn and welcome to my kitchen. Today for dinner we are making Basque Vegetable Rice. This is a super recipe that comes to us from eatingwell.com. The recipe is fantastic, but it's super flexible, so you can mix and match the vegetables that you like to make the rice dish that you want. Let's get cooking. As always, we'll pull out all our ingredients to make sure we have everything that we need before we even get started. We're going to need olive oil, but you can use any oil. We'll need a small dried red pepper, or you could use red pepper flakes if you don't have this. You'll need a medium onion. I think this is medium. I don't actually know what medium is. It's not super small, it's not super big, I guess. We'll need some garlic cloves. The recipe calls for 2 large tomatoes, but these weren't very large, so I'm going to use 3. A medium zucchini, and this cool one is actually from our garden. First veggie of the season. And you'll need a red pepper and a green pepper. I don't have a green pepper, but I have a yellow pepper. And for spices, it calls for paprika. It says preferably Spanish. I don't know where mine comes from. I'm just using my regular paprika from my store. And it asks for thyme. I don't like thyme. My husband doesn't like thyme, so I'm going to sub in oregano. Remember, you don't have to cook with things you don't like. We're going to need some salt, and we'll need some pepper. And the recipe calls for short grain rice, preferably Valencia rice. And I have tried and tried all over, and I cannot find that. It allows a substitution, or it recommends a substitution of arborio rice, which I can find in my grocery store. And this is all I've ever used in the recipe. It's so good. One day I will try it with Valencia rice, but for now all I'm trying it with is this, and it works out so yummy. And then we need 3 cups of vegetable broth or chicken broth, and I'm going to use my Better Than Bouillon and as my broth. It calls for some flat leaf parsley for garnishing. We don't garnish with flat leaf parsley, so I'm skipping that step. But it also has you using lemon wedges for squeezing over the rice, and it's mandatory in my mind. So I've got my lemon for when I go to serve the meal. Okay, let's pull out all our tools. It calls for a 12-inch cast iron skillet, which I don't own, but I have this non-stick one, so I'm going to use this, and I'll need the lid as well. We're going to be chopping a lot of veggies, so I've got my knife, I've got my cutting board, and my compost box. Now, you put the veggies in 2 separate steps in the recipe, so I'm going to pull out 2 bowls so I can just get everything chopped up ready to go in advance. So I've just got my veggies here. I'm going to need a 1 teaspoon measuring for our spices. I pulled out my 1/2 cup measure for our rice, and we'll be stirring on the stove, so I've got my silicone spoon. I think that's everything that we need. I guess we'll find out as we go. Okay, let's get all our veggies chopped. I'm going to speed it up as we go, but I may jump in with some tips. Who knows? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to take our onion and quarter it and then thinly slice. And now we want to mince 2 cloves of garlic. And I've just pulled out my garlic crushed for this. And you'll want to crush up 1 of your peppers. And you know, you can buy these in the store and they last forever. They're inexpensive and they're called for in lots of recipes. But if you don't have them, you can use maybe 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Now, I probably didn't need this big of a bowl, but as everyone knows, this is one of my favorites. So I've just put that over to the stove, and then we'll work on our next set of veggies. So now I'm going to take my tomatoes and I'm going to seed them and dice them. And you can use a spoon, or you can just use your fingers to get out all the seeds and sort of that gel out of there. Now, some people will keep this and you can spread it on toast. It's kind of a yummy liquidy gel, but I do not do that. are done. I think the tomatoes are a flavor profile key to this recipe, but if you don't like tomatoes, you just skip them. You kind of will see how much vegetable I have, and you can use sort of whatever vegetables you have in your kitchen and that you like. Now we have our zucchini, and we want our zucchini diced. So for the red pepper, it asks for it to be diced, and the other pepper is to be sliced. So I guess you get a bit of a variety. I've used other vegetables. I've used carrots, I've used green beans. You could put mushrooms in. There's just whatever vegetables that you have on hand or you like. This comes together. It's very easy. Okay, that's all the veggie chopping that we have. Before I put away everything, I'm just going to chop up my lemon for dinner. So for dinner, we'll just need a couple wedges here. So I'll just have those cut and ready to go for our dinner. I'm going to move our veggies to the stove and everything else. See you there. Okay, we start by putting in 2 tablespoons of olive oil into our pan and heat it at a medium temperature. Okay, once our oil is hot, we're going to add our chili and onion and garlic. And we're going to cook it for about 6 minutes. You want the onion to be soft, but not browned. But we'll see how we do. As always, we'll have our cup of water at the ready in case things start to get browned, and we can add it to stop any burning. Okay, once your onions are nice and soft and browned a little bit, but I think they look good brown. We're going to add the rest of our veggies, and you can see there's loads, so that's why you need a big pan. And what we're going to do is we are going to just stir them up here, get everything well mixed together. Okay, and to this we're going to add our 1 teaspoon of paprika. And for me, I'm going to add my 1 teaspoon of oregano. You might be using thyme. And we're going to add half a teaspoon of salt and just a bunch of grinds of pepper. So give this a good stir. Get all those spices and the salt and pepper all well mixed in. Once you have this all mixed together, we are going to turn it down to low, and we're going to cover it and let it simmer for 15 minutes, stirring it every once in a while. Okay, our 15 minutes is up and our veggies should look awesome. They look very good and softened up. So next what we want to do is we want to add our rice. So I've got my rice here and it calls for 1.5. So I'll just do 3 of these. And we'll just get this stirred in. So what we want to do now is put in 3 cups of broth. Now, I've got 3 cups of water because I'm going to use my better than bouillon. You can use broth, you can use water, you can use veggie, whatever you've got, whatever you like. So we'll just add this in, and I'll just put in my 3 tablespoons of better than bouillon. So what you want to do is get this all mixed together, but also turn your heat to high. We want to bring it to a boil. And I'm stirring to make sure that better than bouillon gets dissolved and mixed in. Okay, now that it's boiling, we're going to put our lid back on. We're going to turn it to low. We're going to set our timer for 25 minutes and check on our rice. See you then. Okay, our 25 minutes is up and let's have a look. Oh, it looks super good. Oh, now we want to see how the rice is. We want to make sure it's cooked. It is so creamy and yummy. I can already tell I do not need to add any salt or pepper here. It is cooked perfectly. I have found this recipe cooks perfect every single time. It is such an easy recipe. As you saw, it's just chopping a bunch of vegetables. It does most of the cooking on its own. It's such a reliable recipe. So yummy. And vegetarian. Well, except I use chicken stock, but you know, sort of vegetarian, but sort of, I guess it's not. But it is, but you can make it vegetarian or you can even make it vegan. I'm just gonna move it over and plate it up. Okay, let's just plate this up. This makes a wonderful side dish. We're having it as our main meal today. Super healthy, super fresh, super easy, flexible, make it the way you want. Oh, and don't forget to squeeze some lemon on top. I hope you give this recipe a try. Until next time, keep cooking.